Yeah.
I want to talk to you about, and because of that cover, that book, it reminded me of what you said. The whole gay movement, LGBTQ, I believe is what the movement is what it's called. And when they utilize their symbol, the rainbow, or uh, version of the rainbow that we see pretty much everywhere. I mean, if you go to Starbucks, if you go to retail stores, if you shop online, you see this symbol everywhere. And automatically, 10 years ago, if you seen a rainbow, you thought a rainbow. Now, if you see a rainbow, you think about the gay movement. And an
Hmm.
example you used was the Maltese cross. And you said it was taken by the Moorish Templar to represent power, but its original meaning goes back to the ocean. So you basically said that symbolism is taken and formed and fashioned into the idealism of whatever that group of people want you to think. So would the gay community, would that them taking the symbol as a rainbow, would that be an example of what the Knights and Templar did with the Maltese cross, utilizes something that's instinctual with us to get them to get us to go along with their agenda?
It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. What it is that you'll see it everywhere. It's an instigation. It doesn't matter what it is. You'll find this in your mind. The moment you start trying to unify, you'll start having all of these thoughts of division. Things will start messing with you even. This is something that is almost like it's a program. Okay, so it's like inside of the consciousness. It's a virus in itself. It's actually connected to the 7 deadly sins, because you don't witness really any of the 7 deadly sins in nature by the natural animals. Okay, so what happens here is that this virus in the mind, which is now being purported through media, is going to just show us anything that makes us feel uncomfortable one way or another. So if there's people who have problems with LGBTQ plus LPON, then it's triggering them to go into division. If there's people who have a problem with people jumping over the border from the other countries, then it's triggering them. If there's people who have a problem with Freemasonry, then it's triggering them. If there's people who love Jesus, then it's triggering them. So what happens is that there just becomes this huge cesspool. And this is just really what's happening when you're on the Arabot, like when you're actually seeing it from a Mandelbrot and you actually look at the whole thing and what it is, and you just realize the algorithm, not the details to the whole damn thing. You see how every single being is basically a piece in the division, because this is what happens in the division. Every single being is a piece of the other person, but broke. It's like a broken mirror. And in order for us to put it back together again, we have to see ourselves through everything. And I'm going to keep mentioning this. You're going to have to see that part of yourself, because it's interesting, because it may not be a lot. That's how the sky works, and that's how what would be the essence of the energies that come through work. It may not be a lot, but you'll be doing it in your own percentage of who you are on the planet, as far as when everybody is added together, that we make up all of these different modes of thought and all of these different colors and frequencies. So what I'm saying is, if you keep getting agitated and you keep having the thoughts of division, which literally break your mind, it's like you become hooked to it. You're only like looking for things to actually feed the division monster. And then from there, it's like you waste a beautiful mind, because it's like your gift, you're just wasting your gift, because it's like you get fused out and people are there. That's why it's like no power. And that's why it's important to study the energy of the body, like the breathing and how all that works, because you learn it in a whole different way. You even watch how your thoughts lower your energy. And you even feel the thoughts that raise the energy. You start seeing that, even we talked about today, like your nose. And if one side is clogged up and the other one's open, all these are regulators for what's going on in the cosmic system inside of your body. So if you're fighting outside, and that's why it also is not only shown, but it's a metaphor that who you really are is pointing in this direction on the back of your skull, right there where your pineal and all that is. Maybe I just have to throw that picture up. It's a metaphor, because it's literally saying like that's what ignorance is. You got, instead of looking within yourself, you're looking out there. So let's say, for instance, you're mad about something and you don't want it to happen anymore, and it stops. What's going to happen next? Well, you're going to find something else to be mad about. If that's your habit, now you're doing what also our ancestors told us never let anybody do. Never let anybody steal our joy.
Mm.
Because that, to be honest, as the Stoics talk about, that's the only thing that you really have control over is how you're feeling in that moment. I've had times where I was laying on a bunk bed. First of all, I had times where I was laying in a mansion in a pool with jacuzzi, and the whole thing was white early in the morning after a club with all of that and everything just being totally white, to actually being in a bunk bed with a sheet over the bed, looking also with a towel over my eyes, looking into the entire white. And I can tell you they look like the same thing. The only difference is in my consciousness, I felt that I was in different places, right? And so the truth here is, and I'm not sure if I'm still on this line here, but I think it may have went out. Okay, good. Okay, I can now pop back up. It kind of went out for a minute. But so basically the only thing is that how am I thinking? So I learned how to transform my mind and let my mind and my consciousness transform the reality that I'm in by consistently forcing a world that I was in control of, not a world that was in control of me. And slowly but surely, the external world started letting loose, and I was put through the proper paces by the higher self to actually be able to come into this awareness. But it is a step-by-step process. And to be honest, it's like you got to want it, because anytime you even go on journeys, when you're done, you don't say right away, man, let's go back on another journey. But when you go to the club and you're done, it's almost like, yeah, man, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go back, man. So there's an urgency to get to that. Likewise, working out. Let's take it into something normal. Most cats don't like get super excited about having to go work out if they're just trying to stay in shape, right?
Mm.
But that's the stuff that builds you. The journeys build you. The meditations build you. That's how most people are at first about meditation. It's like, man, I don't want to meditate. This is like a chore to me. But then once you realize that you're not supposed to just be sitting there, that you can breathe a certain way, and it feels like you're high on this bliss, and this starts activating, you feel all sorts of stuff going on, then you start realizing, okay, there's a benefit to this. So that's what we're talking about here, is training ourselves with things that are going to benefit us, and removing, like a cancer, like a virus, removing the things that we can't not only do anything about, but we peep game. Because once you start seeing, it's just like, okay, so I see what it is. Anything that you're going to train me to be agitated by, you're just going to keep throwing it in front of me. And then I'm going to rage out because I can't control other people. So the power is, I need to control myself.
Ooh. Well, let me ask you this. So let's talk about the whole creation process, how to create our reality, since you're talking about being agitated and my study of emotions and emotional reaction. Let's talk about this. So basically, what we see, or what we think we see, or instead of seeing what we project, our brain is encased in darkness. Our brain is sitting there like, what the fuck is going on out there? And our senses is like, all right, nigga, I'm going to tell you what's going on out there. Let me explore this realm, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to shoot it back to you, and you could decode it, and you could convert it into digital format, and you'll figure out what's going on. So our brain is in darkness. Our feelings, our senses, our vibrations basically send signals to our brains, and they say, this is what's going on via vibrational signals. Our brain converts that into some type of holographic reality. So basically, our emotional reactions to whatever is going on continues to tell our brain, this is what you have to continue to create. So if I see something that I'm very upset at, and I'm heartbroken over it, or let's say I break up with a girl and she cheated on me, and let's say she happens to be black, and I go around and I tell all my friends, these black bitches ain't shit. Let me tell you why these black bitches ain't shit. And as I'm saying that in my emotions and I'm moving my hands, my brain is saying, all right, what's going on out there? So my brain is going to continue to create this reality. So it becomes a loop. So I'm saying, these black bitches ain't shit. And my brain's saying, okay, I got you. Keep telling me. So my brain is going to keep producing this holographic image, and I keep thinking that's reality. But what I don't realize is that I keep feeding the very thing that I'm seeing. So talk to me, is what we're seeing, is what we're seeing nothing but our brain decoding system, Sevan?
I'm glad I got this up here. let me just show you
Yeah.
this and show the
Yes.
audience this.
Let me put that
Okay, and
on.
this is
Hold,
what I
hold,
was
give me a second. Let me put this on. Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is what I was referring to. This is the superior brachium. This is in the back of your head. This is not just a, you can go and Google this right now and take a look for yourself. I'm not sure exactly what's going on in the dimension, but it seems like we can't see the obvious until it's time. That's why it's important for us to not have any enemies in all this. Like somebody could actually oppose us, like something could actually be more powerful than us. Because the reality is, when you see how all this is put together in the sheer proofs, you realize that there's also some timing stuff that's going on here, where there's this little play that goes on with the good and the bad, just like kids. And then all of a sudden, or immature kids, and then all of a sudden you start figuring out that, man, I'm actually more and I'm beyond. And now I have this ability to step into a higher level of my existence. And it's all about whether I want to go there or not. Do I still want to stay in division? Like they say, stay in Wonderland and keep dealing with the stuff that you cannot change, or get into your consciousness, get into the seat of your consciousness as you see, and activate. Notice how right here, this is also known as the Menelik or the MLK. That's why they called it Martin Luther King, because it was another trigger, if we want to talk about triggers today, about that old king, which is what's also known as Moloch. That's why they demonize Moloch as being the horn god, which is, of course, the minotaur sitting in the middle of the maze. And as we see, this is superior brachium. You have a pineal gland sitting here as a reference of what part of the brain this is. That's also in the center of the head of the other being that is sitting, that is in the seat of the consciousness, because that's what I was saying before. It's an infinite recursion, okay? Meaning that it's a Mandelbrot. So there's another, just like you're here as a person, then there's another person, then there's another person, another person, all the way down into a quark. It gets like that. But if you just identify this one, you realize Jesus on the cross, or the Messiah on the cross, which is everybody, is the being basically sitting there between the divisions of their own hemispheres, the right and the left. And based on all these judgments, they're torn between one side and another. And without going into the ancient times and just find modern facts of what happens when you actually connect the corpus callosum and also the energetic center in the body into the Dantain, rather than trying to be all up here, I'm in the prince, I'm in the royalty, and then you're thinking all the way down there is the hell and everything. That's not even how things are put together. In the center is where you want to be, right? So we're talking about center, we're talking about middle. And that has nothing to do with our dualities that we keep facing in the reality about male or female, black or white, penis or vagina, hermaphrodite, different persuasions, chemicals, all this kind of stuff. That's all distraction. That's why, the lower realms were made to be very entertaining, because just like we talked about before, there are beings that know how valuable, not just the plane, because we're all collectively projecting the plane, but the individual souls or pieces of fruit, the seeds, are in this realm. And so that's you, that's your children. So, of course, we're going to be, again, as a metaphor, walking, because every time we take a step, this is on the back of our brain, we're going to be walking in another direction than where we truly should be going, until we do, what I started talking about in the beginning, understand. It looked like some cats had overstood, they overshot it. There was another group, they understood it, they didn't make it. So I said, understand, come back in here, because then you're going to be able to help everyone. You're going to be, because everything you then create from there is a reflection of you.